Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life Was Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I'm your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites throughout the communities in Massachusetts. The communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, and also Granby and Amherst as well. His tours spotlight the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. So today's episode will be discussing the 2025 tours and presentations. So what should we expect in 2025?
There's going to be a lot of new tours and new communities, and there'll be some tours from the past that are most popular that repeat themselves, of course, including many canal tours that was always the most popular. So today we're going to talk about the new communities, hopefully, that we're going to be in this new year. The 11th year of me doing tours and presentation around the Connecticut River Valley. I might have started in South Hadley and Holyoke, but I've moved very quickly to Chicopee. Then this year, 2024, I moved into new locations, including Granby and East Hampton and Amherst. And I want to keep moving into new communities. And I want to have special events this year. Not all the tours will be walking based. I'm going to go back to what I did 10 years ago and have a couple of bus-based tours around these communities. And I'm going to talk about which one's my favorite. I hardly ever talk about myself and what I like the most. I'll do that at the very end. And so what you might expect are a lot of cemetery tours around different communities. But my favorite one, which I'll explain at the end, is coming up this year after lots of years and years of research, very hard research. I'm going to be finally doing something in this direction. But I hope to repeat the Saleh Canal Tour, the Holyoke Canal Tour, the Chicopee Tour, and I hope to get new tours going in new communities. It's going to be a year of anniversaries, and for that reason, I'm going to tell you about these anniversaries, 150th and 250th special anniversaries coming up. And also, I hope to have presentations indoors about the Chicopee River, about its 6 power canals, and about the Connecticut River and its 6 navigational canals. I hope to have a series of talks in Springfield on the burial grounds of that community throughout its history, which will be the start of multi-year presentations on Springfield cemeteries and tours around our cemeteries. And I also help to finish out some of the cemeteries I've not finished in Chicopee yet. I finished them all in Granby, South Hadley, and Holyoke, but in Chicopee I have 2 left, and I'm going to have 2 there this year. And Chicopee I hope to have a St. Anthony of Padua Church tour because they're celebrating their 100th anniversary in 2025. And I hope to break out into new communities like Belchtown with cemetery tours and have one in Granby at the Dufresne Park. I this year had a very successful series on burial grounds there. In East Hampton, I hope to have 3 cemetery tours. They were very popular cemetery tours in East Hampton this year, and I hope that popularity keeps going.
And what new communities will you be doing?
All right, the new communities I hope to break into are many, and what I'm trying to do, of course, is expand into new communities because they have a lot of knowledge about the topics I do. Canals, churches, streets, parks, reservoirs, and I want to apply those to new communities along the way. So I might do 6 communities in the past, but the new ones of this year, hopefully, will be Agawam, Belchtown, East Long Meadow, Hadley, Ludlow, Southampton, Springfield, and West Springfield. Not all of them might be gotten to this year, but these are the ones I hope to come in. By 11 years of doing this now, I know what I'm doing when I get to a certain site and very quickly can learn. And so I can do a lot more topics now. And that's wonderful. But of course, I'm going to keep doing the prior communities that I've been doing for many years.
And really quick before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to sign up for any various tours or check out his website or find out more information, you can go to holyokecanaltour.org. And there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops on each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for any other inquiries or private tours, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun, educational, outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, what special events will you have in Holyoke?
All right, special events in Holyoke. Next year is the 150th anniversary of the Precious Blood Church Fire of 1875, where 71 people lost their lives due to die in that day or in the weeks following. 71 people due to a fire. And that anniversary takes place on May 27th. I'm going to try to have presentations and tours approximately near that day. The first thing I'm doing, though, on that event is in South Hadley at their library, where I'm going to get the Precious Blood Church Fire story. And I'm going to repeat that story in the beginning of May at the Holyoke Library. I'm going to have a tour around the Precious Blood Church campus to see where that old church was, where the replacement church was, where the convent, schools, rectory were. Some of them are still there. And what I've done over the past 20 years is find out as many official documents as I could possibly do on those 71 people that died. Their baptism records, their marriage records, their burial records, and any census I find them on. And I've come to have a better understanding of who these people really were, what their real names are, what their real birthdays and places are, and I'm going to present this information to 2 different libraries. Now, the other special event coming up is the 250th anniversary of the American Revolutionary War. Happens next year, and in Holyoke, I'm going to give 3 events on that. One event will be a presentation indoors talking about the effects of the Revolutionary War on Holyoke. Another one will be at the Elmwood Cemetery in Holyoke, because 31 men from Holyoke were involved in the Revolutionary War. 2 of them died due to that war. And in the Elmwood Cemetery, I believe there's 21 men of those 31 that are buried in that one cemetery, in fact, very close to each other. So we're going to walk around talking about the men and the stones. And then the last piece of this, I might have a presentation in November of 2025 that will be entitled A Colonial House in Holyoke Through Time, where I find one of the very oldest homes of Holyoke and talk about its history as a house and the people that live there, especially the Revolutionary War veteran that lived there, if possible. So it's going to be a very filled up year with those 2 very special events. There might be other events I give around the area too, if funds come in.
And out of all of these events, which do you think is your favorite?
I think the Precious Blood Church Fire is. I've been working on this list of finding all the baptism records of all 71 people. And forming, getting that list, having the knowledge to be able to get that list is very difficult. Very few people can do this. And so I've been doing it for so many years. For 10 years I've been doing it, but even 10 years before that, I was trying to get the knowledge I needed. And it's very hard. So I worked on my nephews and nieces' genealogical trees, and most of them are French Canadians. and I got the knowledge I needed. So about 10 years ago, I went full in to trying to figure out who these 71 people are by their real names and real birth dates and real place of birth. And I've almost got all of them, and I'm going to present this information a couple of times. So hopefully you'll be there, and if not, I'm going to try to have videos and audios made of these events. Thank you.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of expertise. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can check out a large selection of our other podcasts on his website, as well as on SoundCloud.com. And be sure to stay up to date with new podcasts and videos posted daily. Thank you for tuning in.